we are forging ahead with CO10, which is the first of 5 rules that we are going to learn to simplify exponent expressions. Okay, and the first rule up today says I can simplify an expression with exponents when multiplying by the same base. Okay, so the first rule is multiplying by the same base. First, though, we're going to define what it means to simplify. Okay, when we talk about simplifying an exponent expression, we want to combine all coefficients and like bases. Keyword there are like bases. Okay. With equations, we had like terms, like 12n and negative 14n or whatever it was. Here we have like bases. So back to PO9, this is why it matters. You know what a base is. So when I say like bases, you know what I'm talking about, right? And the base would be whatever number variable that's attached to the power. And so consider the expressions below. These cannot go on a help sheet because it is a happy pencil section. However, we will summarize this in the key point there, okay? But it says, first write each in expanded form. The reason why I harped so much on expanded form in PO9 is because expanded form is your safety net. If you ever forget this rule, you can write it out in expanded form, and you should see how they can be combined from there, okay? So 3 to the 4th times 3. First of all, what's the exponent on that second 3? It's not written, which means it is a 1. Okay, so really this says 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 1st, right? In expanded form, 3 to the 4th is how many 3s? 4 of them, all being multiplied together, right? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. That's our 3 to the 4th there. And we're multiplying that by 3 to the 1st, which is just 1 3. Okay? What is a simpler way to write the expression that we have now? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Evan? 3 to the 5th. We now have 5 3s all being multiplied together. What we've just done is we've simplified this expression. Instead of saying 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 1st, we can write that as saying, well, okay, so we've got 5 3s all being multiplied together. Right? We took the like base of 3. 3 is the base here, 3 is the base here, and we combine them. Okay? Next one. 7y cubed times y to the 4th. Raise your hand. Tell me, what is the like base that we have here? What is the like base that we have in 7y cubed times y to the 4th? Raise your hand, please. Evan. Because I asked. That's so good. That's so good. Right? 7y cubed, y is our base, times y to the 4th, y is our base. Because they're like bases, they can be combined. Again, let's go to expanded form. We have 1 7, because that's a coefficient, right? Times y, times y, times y. And we're multiplying that by y to the 4th. Y times y times y times y. Okay? So, what is the simpler way? What is the simplified way to write 7 times y times y times y times y times y times y times y? James?
7y to the 7th.
7y to the 7th power. Right? Oh, sorry, Evan. I should have given you that. JK. Okay? And the reason why we can do this, I mean, what is an exponent, right? It's repeated multiplication. So this multiplication symbol here is kind of just saying, yeah, we can combine these because we're just multiplying all these y's together anyway. What's that? Why is this one bigger? It's kind of to separate our two terms. This one here is 7y cubed. This is y to the 4th. It's subtle, but it's just to kind of separate those two expressions. You don't need to write it larger. I just kind of do it just to kind of keep them. We can identify where each term or each expression The last one, 8xy squared times 5x squared y cubed. Oh my goodness. Let's go to expanded form. What is 8xy squared written in expanded form? Evelyn.
8 times x times x. Oh, x. Times y. Times x.
What is the base of that power of 2?
Y.
I didn't have to call you that concept. You still, because I asked.
Yeah.
Okay? The base of that power of 2 is y, not the x.
Oh, wait, what?
Okay? Not the x. The reason why the x is not part of the power here is the same reason why if this were a number, the 4 wouldn't be part of the power. Okay? X is not a coefficient, but it's a different base. Technically, this x has a power of 1 on it. Okay? If we wanted to include the x with the power of 2, what would we have to write?
No, you'd have to do like what the
What if we wanted to include the x with that power of 2, what would we need to apply or add to the expression?
It'd be 8x to the power 2 y.
We could write 8x squared y squared, or we would have to have it like this, right? We need parentheses around it, okay? The base is only what is attached to the power. The x is not attached to the power. When we read this, there is only one x there, not 2 of them. The only thing being squared is the y. Okay? 8 times x times y times y. The power of 2 does not apply to the x. Yes?
What if there were parentheses around the x and the y?
Then it would. If it was xy squared, in this case, the base of the 2 is xy, so you'd have xy times xy. Now you do have 2
What
x's.
about the 8? Like if the 8 was like behind the parentheses.
Just like that?
Yeah.
There's only one 8.
So it'd be 8 times x times y times xy.
Yes. Okay? Yeah, understanding the mathematical language is a big piece of this, right? That x is not part of the y. It has its own power. It's not written. It's a 1. My hidden math poster back there, the bottom left square, the yellow one, says 10 equals 10 to the first. Any number without a power written, it's like it has a power of 1, because there's just one of them there. Okay? The second one, 5x squared y cubed. How many 5s are there? 1. How many x's? 2. How many y's? 3. Okay? So expanded form, 8xy squared times 5x squared y cubed, 8 times x times y times y times 5 times x times x times y times y. Okay? Now, our rule, or our definition, is to combine all coefficients. All coefficients. What are the coefficients, which are only numbers, okay? What are the coefficients in this expression? Priya. 8 and 5. Is it okay to multiply things in any order? Yes. 3 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 3. Okay? Both equal 12. So the fact that this 8 and 5 aren't right next to each other, that's okay. Because we're only multiplying here, we can reorder these any way we want to. So what's 8 times 5? 40. Okay? Now it says all coefficients, we've done that, and like bases. The like bases that we have a base of x. How many x's do we have total? 3. How do we write that? X cubed. X times x is x cubed. And then we have another base of y. How many y's do we have in all?
5.
How do we write that? Y to the 5th. Okay? So, simplifying an expression like 8xy squared times 5x squared y cubed is going to be 40x cubed y to the 5th. Questions on that? Okay, we're gonna move down. We're skipping the chart for now, or this pattern here, and we're going straight to the expanded form. And this is going to be your homework for tomorrow, just this page, not the second page. But you must, please listen to my directions, you must write each expression in expanded form, then simplify it to be one term. So what we just did up above is what you're doing here. They must be written in expanded form. Pick one for us to do together. Not let's pick one from the first row. We'll go kind of row by row. Pick one from the first row. The last one? Okay?
Fourth one.
So 7ny squared times 2n squared. Identify the coefficients. What are our coefficients? James?
7.
N?
N.
Nope.
7.
Coefficients are only numbers.
Oh, 7 and 2.
7 and 2.
I see the 2.
Okay. Identify our bases. What bases do we have here? James again?
Y.
Because I asked. And?
And N.
I was expecting you to say N and Y. I wasn't prepared for the joke. N and Y. So we have 2 of them. Right? So keep that in mind. So writing this out in expanded form, 7 times N times Y squared, does that 2 apply to the N? No, it does not. Okay, N is a different base. It has its own power. If there were parentheses, different story, but there aren't. So in expanded form, we have 7 times 1n times y times y. That is 7ny squared written down in expanded form. But what? We're not done yet. That's just 7ny squared. Right? Now the 2n squared, how do we write that in expanded form? Gus?
2 times n times n.
2 times n times n. Right? So now, like we did up above, is one of those similar to this here. First of all, our coefficients. Right? We have coefficients of 7 and 2. What do they combine to be? James? 14. Why multiply them? Because that's all we're doing here. The only operation that exists here is to multiply. That's what exponents are. Repeated multiplication. So 7 times 2 is 14. Then we look for our like bases. I have an n there and 2 n's here. How many n's do I have in all?
3.
How do I write that?
X3.
N cubed. But yes. Okay? N cubed. Then I look for my other base. I've got y times y. How do I write that?
Y squared.
Y squared. So simplified, this expression is 14 n cubed y squared. Good. You can do the last one. You got this. Okay. I changed my mind because I don't want you to pick the last one. I want you to try yourself. You can do it. Just okay.
Not that hard.
It's not. It's really not. What if? Okay, Priya. Would this be challenging if it rather than 1/2 it was like a 3?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Really? It's the same. It's the same thing as a 7 and a 2, which is different numbers, right? They're both coefficients. Okay, what's that?
When are we gonna use this in our life?
This is the foundation for Algebra 2. Think of how difficult pre-algebra would be if you never learned how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, right? You were laying the foundation for things like mean, median, and mode, perimeter and area, probability, all those things there.
No, like in our day-to-day life.
Oh, day-to-day life, you're probably not. But thankfully, people do, so that you have your TikTok algorithms that let you do all the things you want to do in life. Cell phones would not exist without this kind of math. Okay? So everything that you kind of is so simple. You pull out your phone, the world's at your fingertips. Someone paid attention. Someone paid attention in 7th grade and 8th grade and 9th grade and is now to thank for having all the simplicities that we have. Okay? Says what? It really is. Okay? So your day-to-day life? No. If you want to be an engineer, a scientist, an astronaut, anything with space, you need to know this. Okay? If you want to be an interior designer, you probably don't, but you're going to learn it anyway. Okay. All right, homework for tomorrow. Just this page. Make sure you're writing an expanded form.
You can solve the TikTok lives that will be in your everyday life.
TikTok's just a way for the Chinese government to spy on them.
All right, hit with that. That's how you now.